Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Today I'm just going to be taking a look at what at the developments of the current position of the match between the champion Kubo Osho versus the challenger Watanabe. Watanabe is black. Okay, let's just look through the moves until the adjournment position, then we can go back. Okay, the position was adjourned here. And Kubo captured, and this happened. Okay. Yeah, we can. Yeah, let's go back. I'll explain a little bit about the opening. Okay, so Kubo chose this Gokigen Nakabisha, and Watanabe uses this very popular 3-7 silver variation. And it's well established enough so that this is you can probably say this is a principled way for black to play. One of the things that the Ibisha side does is quickly establish the silver on force 6, and then only after doing so deciding what to do with his king position. So you can say that because these are moving the silver up to 4-6 along with 3-6 pawn is, that's an optimal place for the silver. It makes, I guess, the outlook of this position a lot more flexible than any of the options that white has. Probably the only things that white can decide to do is whether to go into maybe a Mino or an Anaguma. He could also try like a gold Mino, but it's going to be very hard to fight because the castle isn't very strong. So I'd say that black has a lot more options. So I was saying a few years ago that because of the flexibility of black's position, the long-term outlook on the longevity of this opening is much better for the Ibisha side than the Nakabisha side. So let's continue. Okay. So for instance, black can choose to go into a left Mino. He can also go into Funagakoi, also Anaguma. So many options. So although this silver comes out really quickly, it doesn't necessarily mean that black is aiming for a very quick attack, although he could. Just aiming for maybe 4-5 silver at 3-5 pawn. One of the things that the silver does is it solidifies the center and it ends up slowing things down. And after the thing slows down, then black can decide what to do with his king. But instead of going into a regular left mino, like say like this, Watanabe is going to move his silver up to 6-6, which signifies a crossfire, like that. It's a very popular way of playing. Yeah, a long time ago they thought that the silver on 4-6 and 3-7 knight formation was difficult to get Sabaki, but practice has shown that it's actually easy for black to do so. That accounts for the popularity of the system in like the past few years or several years. Now Honda, the professional Honda Fordan suggests that after 3 to gold, if black continues 4-5 knight, then this could happen. And he said that it isn't a problem for white, and the game's about even. I'm not so sure about that assessment, though. Of course, he threatens 3-7 bishop promote, so he defend it by just moving the silver back and then threatening to take the lance with the bishop. If he drops the silver here, then the rook does get harassed. Can get harassed, but let's see, like this. But actually, black has some ideas. One very natural thing to do is just move the rook away from the silver and just allow the bishop to capture the rook. Something like this could happen. Yeah, well, in this one the rook's been let's see. Alright, it is a rook for bishop exchange, but what is he going to do with the rook? Well, maybe just capture the lance, maybe threaten 4-7 silver promote. But then he can do this, defending against the 4-7 silver threat. And after he takes the lance, then black also has his own play, so he can start attacking like this. So you notice the attack is a lot closer to white's king than white's attack is to black's king. So this is promising for black. What else? Oh, another kind of more radical continuation is this sacrificing the rook by doing this, just taking the lance. And the reason why this is effective is that you notice that white, it's a large amount of material, but white doesn't have pawns in hand to defend against 5-6 lance. So after that, if the rook moves over, then the rook can start getting harassed. So it ends up just being an exchange rather than just an outright sacrifice of material. If he continues by taking the rook, then you can see what I mean, like that. What else? Okay, another try is just to attack the more important piece, which is this promoted bishop. Then after this, we have that same 5-6 lance drop. Maybe rook moves out of the way. You notice there's like 4-2 silver, 2-2 silver kinds of threats. So you can move the rook out of the way first, and then just dodge the side. After that, he still retains his threats. He also has threats down the 5th file, just to promote and start attacking maybe somewhere on 6-2. Here, 6-2 or 5-2. Okay. So 4-5 knight was an option. In the game, he continued to develop his position. If he was going for an immediate initiation of attack, he could go for 4-5 knight. If he's going for build-up, he'll do what he did in the game, which is this 2-9 rook followed by maybe 1-6 pawn. So, yeah, very sensible development. Okay, and then he initiates with this knight jump. So it's very important for the Furibisha side to get Sabaki for his left side knight, because it's generally the attacking knight is harder to get into play. So if you can do so, it generally means things are going well. The only other thing, I mean, but it isn't, you know, only good for the Furibisha side, and the reason is because what the Ibisha also gets mutual Sabaki. Also, you notice this gold here is away from White's king, so in a way it's kind of it's not playing as much of an effective role as normal ranging rook openings. But let's look a little further. So both sides got Sabaki for their knights. Okay. And then now Black just repositions his rook and gets Sabaki for his attacking silver. I mean, these are just very, very natural moves. There's nothing too fancy about it. Okay, so he moves the gold closer toward his king, where you know, where it can play a better defensive role or get into play. On 3-2, it's a little bit too far. But then there's nothing to stop Black's plan. I don't think there's any way to prevent it either. I don't think this knight drop is anything for Black to worry about. Maybe he can just go like this. I noticed that Black has 2 pawns in hand, so later that means as well as the knight, so this signals an edge attack, starting with 9-5 pawn later on. Okay, so now Watanabe just creates Aji on the edge. Like that. Whenever you have knights and pawns in hand for the Ibisha side, you should always consider edge attacks. Okay, and they adjourned here. So usually the king being one space closer to the side helps him defensively. In this case, I would say that it isn't so much of an advantage because the king ends up being closer to the attack. Also, this gold on 4-2 isn't as well placed as the gold on 5-8 for defensive purposes. So Kubo took the silver. Instead of that, if 7-4 knight, this could happen. The threats to begin an edge attack. So this is a pretty good sacrifice of the silver for the knight. Let me just pass a move just to show you. Like that. And then threaten 9-4 pawn. If he tries to harass the bishop like this, he might even sacrifice the bishop like this. And then still threatening 9-4 pawn. And despite the massive loss of material, black has a lot of pressure and a very promising attack. And then the threat would be maybe 3-4 lance. I'll just pass a move like this. Just cutting off the king's escape to 6-2. Yeah, this is no good for go back. So instead of 7-4 knight, if he pushed here on the edge, 9-6 pawn, then this 3-4 pawn threat is pretty strong. Bishop has to move, and then after just this natural exchange, he can just drop here. Yeah, these threats aren't very hard to find, so White definitely had to deal with it, since these are natural moves. Okay, another kind of irritating try is this 2-7 knight. It does gain material, but let's see. The knight ends up getting out of play, so it's not that big of a gain. It's almost as if he just traded his knight for the lance. So material-wise, it's not huge. Material and activity-wise. And one of the features of this position is that White has to always be careful about this exchange. It's not like just an exchange of a rook for bishop, because he has this immediately after. So he's probably going to end up getting the exchange back. Yeah, and this ends up being very promising for black. 4-4 bishop just to get out of the way of that exchange. Yeah, this is also pretty good for black. Okay. So Kubo captured. So both sides Sabaki'd their attacking pieces. But due to the aji on the edge, as well as the positions of the golds here on 4-2 and 5-8, oh, and also this pawn here on 2-3. And notice that black didn't have to, after the exchange, he didn't have to drop the pawn that he exchanged on the second file. So that signifies a huge gain for black. So due to this, I don't know, I'd say it sucks. They say Saksengachi. It's strategically winning for black. So he played 2-4 bishop. Another alternative was 3-3 bishop. I mean 4-4 bishop, just to again to another way of avoiding 3-3 rook promote. But after this, yeah, notice that this gold ends up in a really bad position, far away from the king. Yeah, this is better for black. 5-5 silver is also possible. Like that. So Kubo did 2-4 bishop. So black has to move the rook. If 2-5 rook, then he abandons the third file, and 3-1 rook is pretty strong. So either 3-6 rook or 3-4 rook. This looks like the more natural of the moves, because again he threatens at some point to take the bishop after there's more attacking moves on the king side. He also threatens just to take the pawn on 6-4 and continue the attack on the edge. So 3-3 pawn. Six 3 pawn. If he drops like this, it makes it harder to defend the edge. You can just get Sabaki for his rook. Notice that because he dropped the silver, there's no natural defense of 8-5 silver. So this is very good for black. Another try is 5-3 gold. But then he doesn't need to retreat to 6-5. He can again take here. And this is gonna just end up being an exchange. Yeah, much better for black. If he tries to keep the material, it's gonna end up very disastrously because of this. So he threatens to take the rook. He also threatens mate with 7-4 knight. Okay, so he played 6-3 pawn. So taking the bishop again is a possibility, but it isn't as clear as the other ones. You can drop the silver like that. But then 9-3 pawns, I guess it's still a game. Might be about even. Oh wait, a 7-7 knight doesn't work because of this. Okay, so he just retains his options by pulling the rook back. 9-4 pawn's a threat. Lance takes an 8-6 knight. The 8-5 silver defense isn't going to work because of the rook. Like that. Okay, let me check the position. Knight to pawn. Let me promote that. Okay, so I guess the threat is 9-4 knight, silver takes, and maybe 9-5 lance. Let me pass him. Yeah, this is the threat. Silver takes, then rook takes. So he's making headway on the edge. So what did Kubo do? 5-6 pawn. Okay, and this is our current position. So Kubo's trying to go for counterattack. Looks like black is going to have to respond to this because 5-7 pawn promote doesn't look good at all for black. So so either it takes immediately or this followed by takes, or maybe yes, maybe he can do this just to deal with the pressure. Okay. Okay. Well, so again, we're on move 68, and it's the same story as the previous two games. Kubo ended up with a bad position out of the opening. Right now, Watanabe is up 2-0. So, yeah, I said before, the outlook just on Kubo's openings in general doesn't look so good. Okay, with that, I'm gonna end the stream and come back later on after some moves have been played. Thank you for watching. Take care.